hammer is actually a very underrated weapon in Monster Hunter. Not only is it an OG weapon in the series, dating all the way back to the first game, but it's seen a lot of improvements throughout its lifespan, and I really can't recommend this weapon enough for new players or even for expert players as well. This is a weapon that's capable of dishing out really high damage, but also has an inherent ability to knock out monsters, leading up to an all-out attack for all of your teammates. And while the knockout effects in the Monster Hunter series are utilized by many different weapons, the hammer I think is the easiest way to get the knockouts. Some arguments could be made that other weapons do it better, but I think this is the simplest and easy way to do it without really having to commit much, as every single attack does blunt damage. So whether you're interested in the hammer because you think it looks cool, because you like the style of the weapon, or because you want to be the knockout machine on the monsters leading to all-out attacks for your team, this guide will serve as the driving force to make you a hammer expert. So without further ado, let's take the hammer into the training area and show the combos that this weapon can pull off, but also how to utilize the mobility to its greatest effect and how to pull out the potential of the unique abilities behind these attacks. And one last thing before we do hop into the training area, I normally do include builds in these weapon guide videos that I have, but I wanted to see if people actually did care about that enough, so I am going to be omitting them this time around. But I am going to be talking about the most important skills for the hammer and why you should use them, or why some skills may have priority over others. But without further ado, again, let's get over to the training area. So to start off, we have our main combo. This consists of pressing triangle or Y 3 times in a row. This is called the overhead smash combo, into what everybody online calls the golf swing. The golf swing's actually been around a very long time in Monster Hunter, basically since the inception of the first game. Another way to go into the golf swing combo is by utilizing the side smash. The side smash is utilized by using the left stick and the Y or triangle button to get this very quick side blow. This also leads straight into the golf swing combo, but it skips the first step of it. The bright side of this is that you can get into the entire combo a little bit quicker. This takes a while, but it does more damage overall, the normal attack combo. But if you want a quicker way to access damage or your window is shorter, this also suffices. Next we have an out of sheath combo. This is also done by pressing the triangle or Y button over and over. You get a swing into a backswing, which is actually very quick and has some good horizontal range. But you can also combine this into your typical golf swing combo. The third combo, and probably the most important combo, is called the Big Bang combo. We press B or circle over and over again and get this really long-winded attack into the Big Bang finisher. This is one of the strongest attack combos for Monster Hunter World with the hammer, but it takes a little while to wind up into. Another thing to note with the Big Bang combo is that if you miss any of the first 4 attacks, you'll actually be locked out of the rest of the combo. Now let's get on to the most important thing with the hammer, being able to charge your weapon. Just by holding the right trigger if you're on a controller, you can charge the hammer into a multitude of attacks, but you can also run around while you're charging it. It is, I believe, one of the only weapons you can charge while moving around. You can take note that in the top left, it does drain our stamina continuously though, so you have to be a little bit wary of how much stamina you have, but it's generally not much of an issue when you play hammer, as you can cancel out of this anytime just by rolling. There are 3 main phases of the charging with the hammer. There is a level 1, 2, and 3. Starting with the level 1 charge of the hammer, we have the charge side blow. You can press triangle or Y after this to get the charge follow-up. You can also press the circle or B button afterward to get the side smash. Woo, let's sharpen our blunt weapon because we keep screwing up our recording. Ooh, nice and shiny. The level 2 charge is probably the most important in my opinion with the hammer. It is the upswing attack. As you can see, we traverse a pretty great distance with it. You don't have to be running around though while you're doing this. If you just let go while you're neutral, you also get this, but you actually will realize that you don't go as far. You can use it to get in at a moment's notice, or if you need to reposition. You can also follow it up with combos, of course. You can go straight into the side smash by pressing Y or triangle into the golf swing combo. But you can also go into the Big Bang combo from here. This could be useful if you're taking advantage of a well-timed knockdown or something like that. If you're away from the monster, you could easily picture sliding right in like this and just going straight into the Big Bang. The Big Bang, obviously, is very hard to pull off if the monster's moving all the time. The level 3 is the final charge of the hammer. Depending on when you release this, if you're moving or you're in neutral, you'll actually get a different follow-up. So if we're in the neutral state, we actually get the charged Big Bang attack. If we're in a running stance, we'll actually go into the spinning bludgeon. This is an attack that you can just kind of let rip, and your hunter will eventually lose control of their hammer, actually, as you can see. That's if you let every single hit of the spinning bludgeon attack work or land. But you can actually cancel the timing of it any time with the press of a button. You can't roll out of this attack, so it does leave you a little bit vulnerable, but you can get multiple different follow-ups. If we let go before we've hardly gotten any spins in, we'll actually go into this spinning side smash. It actually looks pretty cool in my opinion. And of course you can follow that up into other attack combos as well. You can also do the big bang out of this. It's a very quick way to get into the upswing as well, as you can see. Next we have the 2 swings of it. Spinning follow-up is very nice. Your hunter spins the hammer in the opposite direction, and you can also do combos out of this. Next, we have the straight into golf swing attack. You can do this after the 3rd or 4th spin. So the charging is obviously the most important aspect of the hammer, but what if I told you there's also another key detail that is just as important? While you're charging the hammer, if you press the B or circle button at any time, in the top right you'll see it says power charge. If we press that, your hunter will do a quick little stance, and that gets us extra attack power on our hammer. Even if we roll out of it, our hammer is actually glowing, as you can see, and it's not because of the rainbow effects I have, obviously. This is an indefinite buff that actually has no time limit. The only way you can get knocked out of this buff is if you, well, literally get knocked out of it, or you put your hammer away. And see, it kind of disappeared like that. This is a very important buff, as it actually buffs your attack damage in general and your knockout power as well. As you can see, we're sitting at 1196 raw damage on the right, as you can see, above our sharpness. If we do the power charge, though, that number will shoot up. And now our hammer's glowing, so the attack damage will have increased. Almost by 100 points, actually. It's pretty good. So the quickest way to access this power charge attack is actually just to hold R2 and then press circle right away, and you can actually do a dodge, roll, cancel out of it. Just like that. Very simple, very, very, very useful, and very, very, very easy. This also changes the level 3 attack of the neutral charge attack with the hammer. It goes into the charge brutal big bang. It's basically a way to go into the big bang combo's finisher attack without having to do any of the windup. Let's polish this baby back up because we're going to go into the best attack damage combo that the hammer can pull off. Now, unless I'm mistaken and something's changed in a long time, I'm not a big hammer main, but I used to use hammer quite often, so somebody correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But the strongest attack damage that you can get out of this is by going into a charge and pressing triangle or Y right away, and going straight into the big bang combo. It takes a while to wind up, but it's nice because you can access this for a charge, and since you can charge while running with the hammer, it's a nice way to run up to a monster in the right spot. Like I said, if it's knocked down before. Like I said, though, this combo takes a very long time to pull off, and that's why you might want to cancel it. It takes like over 10 seconds to complete total. It's actually kind of crazy. The power charge is also nice because it gives you an innate ability to French free. You can't be knocked back by tiny little hits and stuff like that while you have the power charge active. So that's also another benefit of it as well. But the power charge is very, very, very important. You always want to activate this right away as it gives you a literal attack boost increase as well as your knockout power in general. So it's always important to activate it right away. Especially like from beginning of the quest to the end of the quest, you'll have done a lot more damage and a lot more knockout power. So please heed my warning or my advice. The power charge is very, very, very important. And there's literally no reason you shouldn't be doing it. Next, we're going to go into wall running attacks with the hammer. You could just run into the wall like natural and do a jump in the air and press triangle to get it out and do a jumping smash attack. This can be followed up into an overhead smash attack into your typical combo. If I wouldn't miss. Well, I guess the upswing hit, so that's fine. You can also do a charge out of the jump as well, which can lead into a jumping charge attack. If you don't let go before you hit the ground, you'll keep your charge status. Which is pretty nice. It depends on the situation that you're looking at. If you want quick damage, I suggest just letting go of the charge before you hit the ground. There's actually not too many wall running techniques that you can do with the hammer, but the last and most important one, and also the coolest looking one, is something that you can get out of a slide as well, but we haven't hit the slopes yet in the hammer guide. So we're going to show you if you are charging and you do run into the wall, you actually go into a mid-air spinning bludgeon. Every single hit in there will actually hit a monster, so it is really, really important and really cool. It doesn't matter what charge you are, you will get the mid-air spinning bludgeon, because as you can see, we actually gain charges while we're running up as well. So if we do it right here, we're not going to get our level 3 charge. We get like level 2 maybe. But if we charge and keep it over here, the level 3 actually activated as we were in the midst of starting the run. Next, we have jumping attacks with the hammer. If we roll off the ledge and do a Y or triangle attack, we'll get, as you saw before, kind of like with the wall climbing attack. It's just an overhead smash in the air, which can be followed up into other combos, of course. And most importantly, you can do a charge out of the air as well, just as you saw with the wall climbing techniques, because after those, you are just airborne. So this is basically the same thing. You can do triangle or Y for airborne attacks, of course, but you can also start a charge, which can be continued on the ground if you want. And of course, you could just let go of it. What is nice is that for ledge teasing strats with the hammer, you can kind of do like a poor man's version of the great sword charge swing attack. If you roll off the ledge and do your charge in the opposite direction, we can get something similar or reminiscent of it, going into a jumping charged attack, but our character actually moves a lot further. Literally actually get a mid-air jump, see? Monster Hunter World is awesome, man. I love this game. Why do you get an actual mid-air hop just because you start charging? It's like we have gone beyond mortal means, actually. Our characters are literal superhumans. There might be a lot here to unpack, actually. I'm not sure all of the uses that you could get out of this. If anybody knows the optimal thing to do with this, please let me know in the comments down below, and let everybody else know for that matter of fact as well. If we do run down a slope and get into a slide, if we do press triangle or Y, we will get a jumping charged attack is what it's called. I'm not sure why it's called jumping charge attack. I guess it gives you 1 level of charge, maybe. It is not out of a right trigger charge attack or anything like that, but you can go straight into the charged follow-up. Also, just like jumping off of a ledge and doing a charged attack out of it, where our hunter swings the hammer from the backside of it. Of course, you could just do a jump out of your slide, and you can do all of the mid-air attacks as we showed before. That's the quickest way to get into the overhead smash, I believe, out of a slide. But if we are mid-air out of a jump out of a slide, then we can go into a charge as well. Now that's it for the normal slides of the hammer, but if we actually charge our hammer and run into a slope, we'll get a charging slide motion. It charges up just like normal if you're running down a slope, and you'll keep your charge even if you don't let go of it. Now, since we can charge our hammer and go straight into attack, if we don't actually get all the way into the slide motion, we will just stay on the ground, and if we let go of our charge attack, it will lead into the side smash, as you saw right there, because we weren't fully in the slide yet. Next, we have the mid-air spinning bludgeon out of a slide. If we are charging the hammer and we do go into a slide, we will get that attack if we just let go. As long as you're fully in the slide motion, you can actually let go whenever to get this out. Even out of a level 2. It doesn't have to be a level 3 charge or anything like that. You can actually even do it before you hit a level 2 charge. You can also cancel your charge slide into a jump, and you will maintain your charge power for pressing Y or triangle to do the jumping charge attack level 3 as you saw right there. So something unique to the level 3 charge attack of the hammer while you're in the air will grant you access to the golf swing attack just from that attack alone. So as long as we have the level 3 and we let go, we can press triangle or Y to go straight into that super strong golf swing. So it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're sliding or you're jumping off. If you can charge your hammer beforehand and go into it, whoa, I didn't know I'd get a slide right there. We'll get straight into that attack. Also, god dang, it looks really cool, man. And like I said, it can come from literally anywhere, even if you're in the air for just a second by pressing jump. If you have the level 3, we can go straight into it. Okay, I gotta change the objects back actually in the training area because there is one more thing with the hammer, which was introduced with Iceborne. So this part applies only if you do have the Iceborne expansion for Monster Hunter World, the Clutch Claw attack with the hammer. This can only be accessed out of a few different attacks, but if you press the left trigger after you're done with a few selection of attacks, you can go straight into a Clutch Claw attack. And as you can see, results may vary depending on where you land. You can actually see the claw attack animation yourself, so you can get a feel for the range. Pressing left trigger after attack, of course, you'll see the grappling hook with the claw kind of pop out. So it doesn't matter where the monster is in that. If you can hit it, like even if you are right here and you miss your attack, I hope this reaches anyways, you can actually get the claw attack anyways. Wow, I can't believe that actually did hit. You'll end up in some very surprising places with this though, because it prioritizes, well, I'm not really sure. You kind of end up in the weird spots sometimes. But right here, we're going to try it again. I'm going to try to miss on purpose and try to get the claw attack anyways. Even if you're not in the right direction, actually, you can actually change the direction of the claw attack itself after the fact. You almost do a whole 90-degree turn, as you can see. You can also do the claw attack out of a level 2 charge with the hammer, but you won't get any of the spinning in between. Kind of odd, actually. You cannot do it out of a level 1, however, though. It just doesn't even pop up as an option. So that is about it with the charged attacks with the hammer, at least. The most important things to note, I believe, are the level 1 and 2 charges. Do not mistake them for not being as good as the level 3. The level 1 leads into your strongest damage normal combo. You can go straight into the overhead smash if you want to finish it early, but you can also go into the big bang with it as well. The level 2 is good for positioning. Doesn't matter where you are, this attack is super good. You move a very, very far distance. In the level 3 charge, do not be tempted by the spinning bludgeon attack. This attack is very good, but it leaves you very vulnerable as you can't cancel roll out of it or anything. If you do make a mistake, you can cancel it basically right away and then roll right out of it. But if you do let it go past that part and the spinning bludgeon attack, you kind of stuck to doing some slower stuff. Actually, the spinning follow-up into the roll there was pretty good. But anything after that is kind of puts you at a risk of getting hit. And of course, the most important thing, I cannot stress it enough, and I'm going to say it one more time. Power charge immediately, always, right away. For the purpose of training, I have not had the power charge on a lot just because I'm trying to show the moves off, so it didn't really matter that much. But I'm talking to you directly right now as the player. Do the power charge, no matter where you are with the hammer, no matter what situation it is. If you do not have the power charge active, it's just, there's literally just no benefit to not using the power charge. It really doesn't take anything. Your stamina is being drained while you're in the charging state regardless. This doesn't actually do anything. If anything, it actually lets you regain a little bit of stamina while you're doing it, because it does let go of your charge. As you can see, it cancels like what level you're at because it doesn't count as part of it. But that's why you can literally just start your charge, go into power charge, and roll cancel out of it. Some other things to note with the hammer is that the charged upswing will launch players, as well as the golf swing attack combo. This part right here will also launch players. So that's something that you need to be wary of and be taken into account, I guess. So now I want to talk about some skills with the hammer. I would talk about typical skills like attack boost and critical eye, weakness exploit, and critical boost. But those skills are all pure damage skills. So instead, what I'm going to focus on is some other handy skills that you might not have considered at first, or some that are very, very good with the hammer that have really good synergy, or some that are like some off niche picks. It depends on how you want to play. As you can see, I'm already highlighted on the slugger skill. This is a skill that goes all the way up to level 5 with Slugger Secret. Otherwise, it caps at level 3. Now, since the hammer has the innate ability to stun monsters, it might be a no-brainer that you want to stack this as high as possible. But actually, you don't need Slugger at all sometimes. It really depends on how you feel about the hammer, whether you want to be doing big damage or you want to be focusing on your knockouts. While the hammer is really good for hitting the monster's face most of the time, you can be hitting other body parts and just going for maximum damage. But it doesn't take a lot to invest into Slugger a little bit. All you would need is 3 points to get the maximum of level 3 without the secret. And a whole 40% stun power is really, really good. Even if you just invest a point into it just to get level 1, that immediately gives you plus 20% stun power, whereas level 2 and 3 and so on only give you an extra 10% every time. So just by investing 1 point, mathematically that is the most stun that you get, like the most bang for your buck for investing points into it when it comes to your skills. Next we have Stamina Thief. Increases certain attacks' ability to exhaust monsters. This is a skill that is best utilized in long drawn out fights. It obviously helps exhaust the monster that you're hunting a lot easier. However, you want to replace this when you're fighting Elder Dragons, as this skill literally does not work against them. So Stamina Thief, very good. Don't use it against Elder Dragons. Now getting into some of the more playstyle oriented skills, we have Quick Sheath. This might not be everybody's first pick on the hammer, but if you want to play more of a supportive hammer build where you're trying to get knockouts, but you also maybe have wide range skill to heal your teammates, this is really good, especially considering that the power charge, like every single time that you sheath your weapon, of course power charge goes away, but you saw just how easy it is to unsheath your weapon straight into a charge and go into power charge. And if you are charging and you're maybe going in for attack, but you notice you do need to put your weapon away, you just roll, put it away, and Quick Sheath speeds that up greatly, and then you can heal your teammates. So this is a bit more support focused, I guess, but Quick Sheath is just really good in any support build, in my opinion. Next we have Handicraft. Extends the weapon sharpness gauge. This skill's pretty good because it's just very easy for the hammer to lose sharpness. Different weapons have different sharpness consumptions. It really depends on the attacks that you're using with weapons, but Handicraft is a very nice skill to slot in. This skill isn't completely necessary though. This is more of a quality of life skill for your build. Next we have Earplugs, which is a very, very handy skill for weapons that like to take a long time with their windups behind their attacks. But Earplugs is really nice if you can max it out so that you don't get interrupted out of a big bang combo, or you can get your charge attack with the hammer on the monster's head or something like that. Especially because you are trying to target the head a lot of the time to get your knockouts. Earplugs just makes it nice that you don't have to dodge or anything like that. Because when you do dodge with the hammer, if you were charging while moving around, then you just lost all your charge. So I think Earplugs is best utilized on the hammer. This is one of the best skills for the hammer, I think, and I think it's very underrated. I don't know why I don't see more players use Earplugs, although it's not like some broken skill or anything like that. So again, a nice quality of life skill to include in your build if you want to have an easier time landing hits on the head, especially in a team setting. Next up, another quality of life skill, but this is just a really good skill in general. Depends on the weapon that you're using. Evade window is extremely good on hammer as well. We did talk about having to dodge, losing all your charge, but as the hammer's only defensive option is to evade, this just makes evade window all the more useful. I don't suggest getting this all the way up to level 5. Even just having 2 points invested into it, which slightly increases the invulnerability window, you'll realize that you dodge through a lot more things than you would realize. And even if you don't have Earplugs slotted in, you can have this slotted in to dodge through monsters' roars and get your charge time back up by, you know, like roll through monsters' roar, start charging right away, and you should be able to get at least a level 2 upswing charge attack with the hammer on the monster's head or something like that. Next, we have some of the stamina skills. I am only going to go over Marathon Runner because it states that it slows down stamina depletion for actions which continuously drain stamina. And as you've just gone through this guide, you'll notice that when you're charging the hammer and running around, you do have a continuous stamina depletion. This skill is also another quality of life skill. Realistically, you're never going to be charging your hammer that long, or you won't be running around until your stamina is completely drained. So this is a skill I think that's handy for players who are still learning how to play the game, or maybe you're trying to assess the monster's attack patterns if you're unfamiliar with them and stuff like that. You get to hold your charge and run around a lot longer. So this is a bit more of a beginner skill. I think that any half-decent player or veteran player or expert player or anything like that, this skill is not necessary whatsoever. But it is nice to consider for the hammer, in my opinion. Next, we have Offensive Guard. Temporarily increases attack power after executing a perfectly timed guard. Now, many players don't know about this, but this skill is actually completely useless on the hammer. I'm just kidding, don't use this skill. Moving on. And last but not least, we have focus, one of my favorite skills in Monster Hunter in general. And I'm particularly a big fan of it in this game as it's not a super broken skill and it really does come down to whether you like the skill or not. But focus increases the fill rate for weapons with gauges and the charge rate for weapons with charge attacks. So this is a really good skill for the greatsword with the charge attacks, but as you might have guessed, when you're charging up your hammer, it gets your charge levels a lot quicker. As you can see, level 1, 2, and 3 only give you an extra 5% boost to your charge time, or at least it decreases your charge time by 5%. I really do suggest going for focus level 3. It's not a super broken skill by any means, but it is nice to just be able to get your charges out a lot faster. It does change up your game plan a little bit too, as the flow of your attack patterns and your general gameplay is just sped up a tiny bit, just enough to where maybe you can charge an upswing, the level 2 charge on the hammer, a little bit quicker, and you could be a bit more mobile and stuff like that. Because if you're just using this 15% reduced charge time to charge up to level 2, do the upswing, roll, do it again. You could play for like a bit more of a mobile hammer gameplay style, or you can focus on your charge attacks a lot with the hammer, whereas like you don't do the other parts of the combos. Now, while I don't think focus is an underrated skill, I don't think it's overrated either. This skill is just a nice balanced skill to give you an extra little bit of uptime on all your attacks and everything like that. So focus, I highly recommend myself, and I suggest you give it a try. Now, I know that most people think this weapon is very Oonga Boonga caveman, and actually a large majority of the hammer player base, as I've seen, also thinks that this weapon is kind of brain dead. But in my opinion, or maybe just in reality, I think you need to have a big brain to be able to use this weapon properly. We've always talked about needing to know the monster's movesets with the greatsword, but I think the same really does apply to the hammer. You have to keep track of where the head is going to get your guaranteed knockouts. And if you really know what you're doing with the mobility of this weapon and knowing when to go into your more optimal attack combos, especially when it comes to hitting the head directly, I think that this weapon actually requires a lot more thought than a lot of people give it credit for, especially the own community behind this weapon. Anyway, the hammer in Monster Hunter World, super sick, super strong, and super great knockouts. It's a really good weapon in a multiplayer setting, but it's also just a monster in solo play as well. Now, the only thing I'm curious about is you. Why did you want to play the hammer in the first place? If you're already a user of the hammer, what's the best tip that you can give new players to this weapon? And to everybody listening, do you think the hammer is a brain dead weapon, or is it truly for the galaxy brains out there? Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. I try to get to most of them, and I always take them into consideration for my future content. Lastly, just a few things to wrap up though. The next video coming out will be an insect glaive guide video. We also have some build videos that are going to be coming out here in the next couple weeks, so please stay tuned for that. I'm also going to be resuming the live streams for the safi'jiiva and the Cult of Teroth and such like that, and other monsters if other players want that. So consider hitting the notification bell to be notified for those events. I'm also going to be making YouTube posts about them, and if you're in the Discord already, then you will know automatically. If you haven't joined the Discord, I highly suggest it. It's on my main channel page, the link is, and I'll have a link in the description down below. But that's it for today, guys and gals. I'm signing off. This has been Terroriza, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace!